Hello, everybody. I am here with none other than Mr. Trevino. What'd you do today, my man?
I went top 8 at this case tournament / showdown out here in Houston with my boys Di, Dan, and Eric, who's not here anymore. Yeah. He left early.
Rest in peace. Yep, left us early.
Rest in
early.
peace. So sad.
And you actually were on a minority kind of deck today too. I don't think there was
a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think there's only maybe 2 or 3 playing.
I think there was maybe 3 out of the 20 something people that played here today.
Yeah, but top 8. Yeah, just like Houston Regionals, you're back at it again, man. Congratulations. I'm excited to see the list. I want to see it because, I mean, Uma's came out, and I think a lot of people don't know what to do with Sword right now, like what to put in, what to keep out, or kick out, or whatever. So, yeah, I'm excited to see it.
There's definitely a lot to do. Like you said, I am playing Sword. Got the nice Aurelia leader there. So pretty. I love the cherry blossom and everything.
Yeah.
Start off is pretty standard. We have the 3 main leaders.
Of course.
Searches out everything Evo in your deck, and even some things that aren't Sword related, so like if you need her, Bell Ringer, or whatever, or other cards that we tend to play. But love the maid leader, especially foil.
Keep your maid leaders, people.
Keep your maid leaders. We got the 3 swordsmen.
Of course.
This man is absolutely necessary in like every build I've played past set 1. A lot of people tend to leave their stuff standing so they can try and swing for pretty big damage next turn, or they can try and get lethal going. Swordsman comes down, says no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
You just gotta tap it, run the bodies into it just like you do every...
Yeah, Sword doesn't have a lot of spells, so you kind of need him to
You need him. The bodies
followers.
take care of the bodies, bro.
Yep, for sure.
And then the quick hitter, the quick blader.
Yep, of course.
I love watching this go like 3 or 4 turns, just hitting consistent 1 damage because it just peck, and in the long run, that's what matters. People just don't touch it, or they'll hit it with easy bodies, or sometimes I'll even search it out, like I said, with a maid leader or something else just to get the last bit of damage in on somebody. I use that like a spell. It's so good.
It's a good way to think about it.
And then round off the ones.
Bell Ringer still in the deck. Very nice.
Love Bell Ringer. I'm enjoying the sort of mid-range build a little bit more right now. Allows you to get a little bit of coverage against really much of everything. Whenever you got Abyss that's still running around, trying to play a little bit more aggro, Bell Ringer early on stops them. Late game, as you'll see later on, play the Evo for the Bell Ringer. So that 2 damage comes in clutch sometimes, and just having a 1-drop to finish off your play or your turn to keep you from lethal damage is just fantastic. I love her. Love her so much.
That's 12 1-drops, right?
That is 12 1-drops.
Nice.
You are seeing something 1 cost in your hand every time you open, and if you don't, mulligan.
Mulligan, yeah.
You'll hit one. You'll hit one.
In 8 cards, you'll hit a 1-drop.
Have to. Next up, we got one of my avatars in the deck, Latham.
Yep.
A Vanguard captain. This boy beefy.
Yep.
Vanilla, but he needs no effect at all. He's just beefy,
no
2/3/3. Then we got Veteran Lancer.
Oh, this is interesting. Why'd you play that? What made you want to play Veteran Lancer?
So, one of the issues that I saw with decks like Forest and kind of with Uma was that they were hitting me a lot early game, and I just couldn't stop it. And one of my philosophies about Sword right now is that you do have to have a lot of little bodies in order to, 1, like I said, throw at other bodies. But for 2, you need the early game wards to be able to keep yourself from the lethal. There's things like Silverbolt, Forte late game for 7, and then the Umas can just rip apart your board. So having multiple bodies to where they can't just take apart everything, I think is just so good.
Yep.
And so the Bell Ringer for turn 1, Lancer for turn 2, I just think it's so good. Veteran Lancer comes in clutch so often for me. Absolutely love it. I think 2 is a good number though.
Yeah, you can search it.
You can search it. Devon Blader, Staff if you need to, Jump Staff Commander. But it's a good card. I love it. That's it for the 2 costs. Okay. Up next we got Floral Fencer.
2 Floral Fencer.
2 Floral Fencer. I thought about running this up to 3. I like the build-a-board concept. There's, like I said, Uma, Rune sometimes is an issue, but then Dragon. Dragon is like one of probably the second deck right now against Uma, and obviously they got board clears apparent, so whenever they take apart the board or punish you for overextending, Floral Fencer comes out and just rebuilds it back up.
Yeah. Just
Lego pieces. I love it. Next we got Gem Staff. Searches basically everything in the deck. I love playing her turn 3, going first, and then just Floral Fence Ring turn 4. Just like set 1. Nothing changes.
Yeah, nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
Black and white.
Or finishing off combo pieces to fix out my hand. Just love it. And then, of course, Novice Trooper.
Yeah, there you go.
You can't go wrong with the 3 Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Next up, I still play Amelia.
My goodness.
I love Amelia.
Did not cut her, okay.
Did not cut her, no. Like I said, a lot of people leave things standing a lot, and 4 damage is really big, especially in those early turns, 4 and shortly thereafter. So like I've seen Dragon Warriors that stay standing, Ancient Elves that stay standing, Agnes Tachyon, Merlin, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So people leave it standing and they're like, okay, I don't have to worry about anything. Maybe a Swordsman, Novice Trooper, whatever. But then you plop down Amelia.
So do you find yourself using that effect, the removal effect, more often than you do the special summon effect?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And I've used it late game too to finish off like big damage wards like a Lucifer, Shenlong, take care of a Rico that I need to clear out.
Nice.
The summon effect just doesn't come up that often, but you know, like we said earlier, there's not a whole lot of spells in the Swordcraft.
Yeah.
So having the ability to remove bodies without removing your bodies is paramount. It's necessary. And then we've got Avant Bladers. I got 2 Avant Bladers.
Why'd you decide to play 2?
So I have really enjoyed the concept of being able to just fix my hand to whatever I want it to be. Avant Blader I find is good both mid and late game when my hand's running kind of low. Because since I play so many little bodies, I tend to just run out of hand advantage really fast. And then I can refill it with, like I said, things like the Swordsman for combo with Leonidas, or put in the Veteran Lancers to my hand so I can ensure that, like I said, I don't hit lethal from things like Forte. It comes up so often. And I think 2 is a good number because you don't really want to see it all the time.
Yeah.
But you do want it to come up, like I said, in that mid to late game.
Yeah.
So I like her. Then we got the boy, Albert.
Oh, man. 2 of this, too. So you want to see your broken cards.
I do. But not to mention, like, you know, turn 4, he's basically just another Novice Trooper, if nothing else. You know, he's got the 3 hits for Storm, but then he's got a bigger booty as well.
Yeah, really good stats.
So if nothing else, I know I'm going to see a second one later on if I need to, but I can use this to just hit for something else, get that early damage in so that I don't have to worry about it too much later on. And getting those aggro pushes really puts your opponent on the back foot and helps you take advantage of the game and maintain control. And then we're going to pretend like both of these are SPs, but we got Tokai
man. Well, yeah, I told you I had you on that.
I know. But
okay, how did this one, I bet everyone's dying to know how this one did for you.
So this is one of those cards that Di and I have been arguing about since Uma has come out. He swears up and down, will tell you religiously, this card at 3, this card at 3. Because she deals 2 damage for each follower you have to one of your opponent's followers. And then her Evo unit gets Storm. I think personally 2 is a really good number. You don't want the deck to be too top heavy, but at the same time, in order for her to be a Storm, you have to pay 2 to Evo. So if you're going second, it's a turn 6 Storm, but if you're going first, it's a turn 7. And I don't really like that a whole lot. Or I guess you could play her next turn to it, but that defeats the point of the Storm.
Yeah.
But then, you know, she does race. We don't need to race her. It's not that big a deal. But I do enjoy the fact that, you know, much like with the Amelia, we're able to remove bodies. I used her.
What was the biggest? Yeah, what was that? What was the biggest damage you did with her today?
I took care of a Shenlong.
For 6.
6, yeah. It was an unevoed Shenlong, mind you.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, dude.
They had a dead Shenlong in their deck.
I think it was a Dragon Warrior that was left standing and a Shenlong that got played with a Draco Rights. And he warded the Shenlong so he could try and stop me from hitting him for, I think it was like 9. And I just summoned her out because it was like turn 6. Summoned her out, took care of him, summoned, I think, a Swordsman to be able to push for more damage next turn, and then swung with everything on board. Next turn, he just couldn't recover, and I took it. So nice. She takes care of bodies, and it's so good. I just don't think you need her at 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think 2 is really healthy.
And then we got the girl herself, Aurelia, to match up with the leader.
Yeah. She's not going anywhere.
She's not. This is one of those cards where I debate putting her up at 3. She's really, really good in games where your opponent has to stack a bunch of cards on board. So like Dragon, where they have to put Flute, they have to put Draco, and in order to put any kind of pressure, they put a body on board. So that's 3 regardless. She gets her boost. She has Rush, she has Ward, she has Aura. And at that point, they have to throw bodies at her. And forcing your opponent to do that into a big ward is just dangerous.
Yeah.
And if they're not Sword, they're not doing that effectively a lot of the time. And that's what I really enjoy about her, is that she just forces your opponent to remove their own board for you.
Yeah. Great card.
Great card. Love that. We love Aura. Next card is another one of my avatars. It's Alexander.
This boy is very pretty. Oh
very pretty. I love the pretty cards. I'm such an addict, bro. I fiend for these shiny cards, bro. But similar to Aurelia, where your opponent is having to build like massive boards and everything like that, so like Forest, or if you go against the Mirror or even Abyss or whatever, he's going to take care of bodies. And one of the better things I love about him, which I noticed back in set 2, was that he just clears things that are staying standing. And you know, like we said with Swordsman and everything like that, those are the biggest issues that you're going to face, is that your opponent is setting up for lethal. And playing cards like Alexander, Swordsman, and everything like that, you swing, he restands himself, he has a sail, just swings again. Not a whole lot of things are killing a 9 defense monster in one shot. And not everything has Bane, so he's just going to clear out whatever you want, right? So like, I've killed standing Aegises with Alexander before, just because somebody didn't respect him at all.
Nice. That feels great.
It feels so good. They're like, man, I should have evoed him. Probably. This guy needs no introduction, really. He's Leonidas.
Of course.
One of the reasons you play the deck to begin with.
Yep. Only 2 though, which
only 2.
Matches up with what you were saying, not too top heavy.
Yeah.
Of course.
So like I said, you know, you just don't want to open up too many of these big cost cards. Dragon forces you to play out the long game. Uma forces you to play out the long game. Rune, Haven, all of them. So if they're going to force you to play out the long game, you might as well not put too many cards in there to put yourself at a disadvantage. You know, play the big cost cards that are going to get you an advantage later on, but then also play some little bodies to, you know, kind of fill the gaps that you otherwise would have. Don't just, you know, put one thing on board and place all your eggs in one basket. But nowadays there's, you know, the one Uma card to take care of the artifact, the resolve. And then I've seen a lot of people turn off of execution, which I don't get at all, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, so it's easier to resolve Leonidas' effect.
Absolutely, it is.
Right now.
They've got Suzuka, but, you know, if they got 2 bodies on board, you're clearing out with Leonidas anyway, so it's not too big a deal. This is something I'm catching a lot of heat for right now, but Tsubaki has stayed in the main.
Nice. How did it perform for you today?
A lot of people are like clearing out their play points by around turn 6 or so I was able to just swing for her 5 damage, get that easy hit in.
Yep.
But also, since Dragon is one of those big things that's in the game still, and it's still like, you know, top 2 or 3 contender, I want to have something that can just clear out a big body like Fafnir or Muhammad or whatever, without relying on having a board already.
Yeah.
And just summoning one Tsubaki, popping it.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about it. Or just getting that easy set of Storm.
Nice. And I know what this last card is.
This last card.
You tell everybody. Oh my goodness, I was not expecting that.
Love Narita Bryan.
Yeah. How did this card do for you today?
She's so good. I love her so much. Same thing as Aurelia, but she doesn't require your opponent to have a board already.
Yeah.
She just has the aura. She has Bane, she has Ward, so whatever your opponent throws at her is dying, and they have to throw it at her because they can't hit it with abilities, no spells, no nothing. Narita Bryan is so busted.
Yeah.
And then her ability to just tap, deal 5 to either the player or a follower is so good.
Yeah.
So it effectively gives her the rush that Aurelia has, but she doesn't have to touch anything.
I think she was so shiny, she broke my camera for a second. It was like trouble focusing on it because it was so good looking.
Just so good looking. Arguably
awesome,
one of my
man.
favorite cards in the deck. I love it so much.
That's a very unique take on it. I'm sure everyone's going to like to see it, and it's going to help, you know, shape what Sword is going to look like, you know, for this format. We don't have too much longer of it, but I think it's going to. I mean, it's not that it's going to stay the same, but you're going to add a lot more. I think the hero cards come out in set 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to.
I'm excited to see a little bit more combo in the way that we play the Sword.
Yeah. And then your Evo deck.
Evo deck, yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, we got the 1 Bell Ringer for that easy round off 2 damage.
Yep.
That's a lot of times comes in clutch, taking care of those easy bodies and whatnot. the 2 maid leaders.
Got
This
it.
is something that I oftentimes will think of bumping up to 3, but I also like debating somebody by putting 1 maid leader on and having them pop it and be like, okay, that's fine. I didn't need her.
Yep.
I didn't even have the 30-0 anyways. The boy Albert.
Of course.
I love him,
Of course.
love him. You guys have to play this card at least at 1.
Yeah,
The 6 damage with no battle damage at all is so good. And under the banner, so good. 12 damage, no
12
problem.
damage, easy peasy.
The 1 floral fencer, like I said, I want to bump it up in the
only
main
one,
deck.
yeah,
I won,
yeah.
I know.
Wow, I didn't realize you did 2-1. I thought you were, I assumed 2-2. Wow, that's crazy.
So, like I said, I've been thinking about building it back up to, the 3-2, but I haven't made the commitment yet. So far, the deck has worked well for me without it, but we may see how that turns out the more that I show up to tournaments and everything like that.
Nice.
And then I do have the one pretty Tokai.
Making all of us feel broke.
I know. Making me feel broke. My wallet hurts. Like I said, she's got the Storm, but otherwise it's a 5/5.
Yeah.
Like I said, 7 cost. I'm not too big a fan of her, but she does clear out bodies and it does get the damage on board. I used her earlier under Resolve to swing for 8 after she just cleared out a Bell Ringer. So that was a lot of fun. But And then to match the 2 in main deck, we got the 2 Avant Bladers.
Very nice. Oh, you did. Wow, I didn't even expect you to play 2-2.
Yeah,
wow,
we play the 2-2. Every
That's
time I
nice.
summon her, I'm gonna evolve her. So if you see her on board, just know I'm searching.
That's a surprise factor. I don't think anyone. I think if someone sees you evolve Avant, they're not going to expect the second one. So I can see you catching people up.
It's really fun.
surprised by that. Yeah,
absolutely. Especially when, like I said, you have the veteran lancers in deck. Because initially you usually want to go for like the maid leader, the quick blader, the swordsman, and all that stuff. And that's fantastic. Do that. That gets your combo set up. But if they happen to break through the boards and everything like that, the second Avant Blader gets you those other cards, like the other Novice that you may have in deck, the Quick Blader for the extra damage, and the Veteran Lancers to protect you from lethal. It's just so good. And then a 5/5 body swinging on turn is just so good.
Yeah.
And then the boy.
Oh, man. So
Big
no
Chungus
vegetables.
himself.
No vegetables in your extra deck, I see.
None.
But
I don't. Like
how many
I said, I
times you
don't
resolve
like
Leonidas today?
I resolved him. We played what? 6 rounds?
5 rounds of Swiss, the top 8, yeah.
I lost in the top 8, yeah.
Yeah.
To you, no less.
Hold
so
on.
crazy.
No one asked for all that info. TMI. But
I resolved him.
But you're
quite a
saying
bit.
it's easier to resolve his effect now and get the actual amulet out.
Absolutely.
Everyone's dropping executioner. I think you're right.
Yeah.
A
lot of people are just kind of moving off that. Uma is a really big threat, and Dragon is still in the game as well. But like I said, they're not. I think a lot of people are just disrespecting Leonidas, and so if they don't have in-deck outs, this guy just goes in so hard. And you play the 2 because there is, like I said, Suzuki. I forget how to say her name, but then there's also that 3-drop.
Ice and Flash, or Ice and Flash, right?
Yes, Ice and Flash.
Yeah.
They both just get rid of them. So if you happen to, play them out with 1 body, and you didn't quite finish off the damage, they're gonna bounce them back to hand most likely. So then you play the second copy, and you're just like, okay,
yeah, for sure.
Round 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, congratulations! Thanks for sharing the deck profile. I know you got a list of shoutouts, I'm sure, right?
Absolutely. I'd like to shout out Dai. I appreciate you for beating me handedly in everything that we do.
Cheerleader.
But then, except in tournaments.
When it matters.
Only one out of both of us. Absolutely. Only one out of both of us that'll progress to top 8 every time somehow. But he has great insight on the game, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Great deck building.
He says he's all right.
Greatest play test partner and greatest cheerleader I could ask for.
That's what you need, guys. Is a really good test partner.
Absolutely. Get somebody who will wax you handedly every time. You're as good as your competition, bro. And then I want to shout out to Danny for sleeping on the way here.
Danny, wow, must be nice. Must be nice.
My other cheerleader, and then Eric, who, like I said, RIP, didn't want to stay, but that's okay.
Yeah, maybe in the next life we'll see him. But congratulations, man. So we'll see you at the LCQ in Houston, right?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, man.
Probably on Sword again. We'll see.
That's all we got for you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.